Anybody? When do we choose?
If we have a lot of work in manual, so we will choose automation to complete the work within the less time.
Test cases.
Instead of repeating the work, we use.
And also,
automation.
if there any repeated processes, in that situation, we use the automation.
Okay. So for
safe already.
for implicit and complexity, we choose automation tools. We choose automation tools. Implicit is nothing but repetitive process. Repetitive process. Like we usually used to work in regression testing and retesting, right? You already worked in manual testing. So regression testing, retesting. In that case, we used to go for complexity in the sense like long-term or high-risk projects. High-risk projects. In that case, we used to go for automation tools. There are different types of automation tools are there. So types of automations. Some are will called as functional testing tools. Some are performance testing tools. And some are security testing tools. Security testing tools. So if you go for a functional testing tools, which we can do it by manual as well as manual testing, as well as automation testing. Automation testing. If you're going for performance testing, we can do with automation. I'll tell you what are the tools we're having on that. Security is also can be done by using automation tool. Automation tool. Now, if you're going for automation manually, where you're going to write. So if you're using manual testing, we are going to write some test cases. We're going to write test cases either in Excel sheet or test management tool. Test management tool or by using bug tracking tool. By using bug tracking tool. Bug tracking tool. So in the test management tools like test director, quality center, test lodge. Okay, so these will come under test project. This comes under test management tool. Bug tracking tools like Bugzilla, Zira, Mantissa. This comes under bug tracking tool. So this is the involvement of the testers or test engineers, and this involvement of both the developers and the testers in involving bug tracking tools. In the test management tool, the testers detect the defect and send to the developer. Now, when you go for bug tracking tool, it is involvement of testers where they're going to detect it and sends the report to the developer. Developer is going to identify and going to resolve the process. So both categories will come under bug tracking tools. These are the two ways we're going for now. Now, if you're going for an automation, if you're going for automation tools, functional testing is also different. There are different automation tools are there in functional. Some will say it as some Windrunner, QTP, Silk Test, Selenium, and SOAPWay. These are all functional testing tools. Every tool will have their own functionality. Some tools will work on web applications. Some tools works on desktop applications. Some tools will work on mobile applications, Android, Selenoid. There are different categories of functional testing tools are there. So these are all the older versions of QTP and Windrunner, and UFT is also there. These are all HP tools, functional testing tools. These are also functional testing tools, QTP, UFT. These tools are used for, these three tools are used for both So it will tell, using these tools, you can test web applications as well as window applications. Now, when you come to the Selenium, this is used only to test your web applications. Using Selenium, we can test only web applications, which we cannot work on window applications. You cannot perform the operations on mobile applications. It works only on web applications. Okay, only on web applications. Now, some tools are there, performance testing tools, where we are going to test the load testing. We already studied in the manual, right? Load testing and stress testing, right? So we use like some tools like Silk Performer. Okay, next to Soapway. These used for performance testing tools. Security testing on just we can go with many tools are there. Usually we used to work with Soapway also. But you are a functional tester. Your role is to write the manual test cases either manually, or if you're using an automation, we are going to write some scripts and we're going to test the functionality. So they may ask you in an interview, what is your role? I'm a functional tester. My role is to test the functionality by generating the script using a tool Eclipse for the Selenium WebDriver. Visually used to work with Selenium WebDriver. So my aim is to test the application by writing the scripts in the different programming language, and I'm going to test the functionality called as a functionality. So most of people say that what is member functionality? Anybody? What is member functionality?
Main functionalities of the application.
What is the main function? What do you mean by functionality? I'm asking. What is the definition of a functionality? Can you define a functionality?
The application requirements.
Okay. To check the expected values to actual values. Is called, actually we'll call it as a functionality. In manual, we call test cases. In automation, test scripts. So you're expecting something, it should happen. If the requirements meets your specifications, then it is a functionality. So whether the expected values to the actual value will always be called as a functionality. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between functional and non-functional?
In functional, we are going to check the in non-functional, we will check the performance of the application. In functional, we're going to check the functionalities.
Functionalities in the application.
Requirements of the application we check.
Non-functional, we have to check the security testing also.
Yes.
Non-functional.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm really sorry. This is Soumya, the other head business head from W3 Software. Very good morning, Balakrishna.
Good morning.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Guys, when Balakrishna is asking some